واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا.
الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Brothers and sisters, allow me to ask our Creator to provide us with clarity of mind, so that whatever pattern of thinking I adapt will make some logical sense in your mind as well. Because if we will not connect in our thoughts, whatever content I am going to present will be a complete wastage of our lovely afternoon. I also want to ask our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to give us stability of our emotions, so that whatever comes out from my heart will also find a place in your heart. The topic at hand is a topic that requires more of EQ than IQ. The topic at hand requires more of feelings than thinking. Because if the thinking is positive, it cultivates positive feeling. If the feelings are positive, it cultivates positive actions. If actions are positive, it builds a good habit. If a habit is strong, it develops a positive character. And if a character is positive, then you lack nothing in your life. You can stand any challenge, go through any obstacles, and finally, you will reach your destination. Thirdly, I want to ask the Almighty to provide us with the energy, physical, social, and spiritual energy. As we absorb the content, we should be able to conceptualize and internalize and ultimately influence us to be better than where we are at the moment. In English, they say, good, better, best. Don't rest until you make your good better, your better best. So in the process of us interacting this afternoon, the ultimate result should be, we should feel that we are now better people than the time we came for this program. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, my understanding tells me motivation gets you started. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. Motivation is a software, and the discipline is a hardware. And the concept of love is more of software than hardware. Is more of the drive, the push, the motivation that gets you started the process of getting into marital life. But without the discipline, that means the struggle, the ability to withstand every other obstacle, that motivation dies with time. As I was preparing for this presentation, I first asked myself, what is marriage? I've been married for the last 25 years. And up to now, I struggle to define the meaning of marriage. I don't know if you have settled on one. Has anyone settled on a definition of marriage? What is marriage? Has anyone settled on a definition that you can comfortably sell out to the world that this is a definition of marriage? Can you share it with us, please?
Marriage is marriage.
Marriage is just marriage. The laws of English language and any language says you can't define a word using the same word. But I understand. Marriage is marriage. Anyone who is comfortable giving us a definition of marriage? 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 Yes.
Marriage is an institution. It is constantly under construction.
Allahu Akbar. Takbir. It is an institution that is under constant construction. It never ends until you end. As you climb the ladder of marriage, every stage has its own definition. So if you want to thrive on the definition of starting point, you will collapse before you end. But if you are willing to adapt new definition as you climb the ladder of that process, then you will be happy and end your marriage successfully. And anything that is a process, and I want you to write the word process, anything you define as a process has the following connotation. Anything you define as a process has a following connotation. P in that word tells you, for you to have, enjoy, sustain a happy married life, you must always be conscious of your perceptions. Because the day you stop looking at things the way you look at them, the things you look at will change. Can I take it again? Can I take it again? The day you stop looking at things the way you look at them, the things will change. So if you are that person, understanding, before I got married, this is how I understood marriage. When I got married and I went to honeymoon, this is how I defined my marriage. Before getting a baby, this is how was my marriage. After getting a baby, this is what is our marriage. Now the children have grown up, this is now our marriage. Now the definition of marriage is something that changes every other moment. You can't stick to one definition of marriage. But majority of people will say, using the word process, perceptions. You know, this is the girl you married, she was 19. There was something that attracted you on that girl of 19, 20, 22, 23. After 10 years, that 19 years girl becomes 29. After another 10 years, 49. What you saw earlier on, that cultivated the love you had for that girl, now has to be redefined. It is not the same thing that will help you keep moving with that marriage. That's what I mean by perceptions. Remember, my dear brothers and sisters, it is your attitude plus your aptitude that takes you to your altitude. It is the way you look at things and the ability to control those things that will give you the degree of your prosperity in life. So the word process, perceptions, that thing that you saw at the first instance now keeps changing, therefore you have also to change. Your outlook of that person has also to grow. John Maxwell calls it the law of growth. You have to go with the growth. You can't keep the same understanding of that relationship constant. Using the word process, marriage, it is that struggle that motivates you to feel like your life is meaningful. Because the meaning of life is making your life meaningful. The purpose of living is living a purposeful life. The moment your life loses a meaning, then your life becomes useless. And when your life becomes useless, everything around you, bears the same spirit of being useless. So marriage, as you climb its ladder, you must change the relationship. Nikikuona kwa mbali, moyo wangu waja juu. Kwa macho yangu mawili, I look at you. Usimwambie wa pili that I love you. Now that will work very well when we are still courting. Am I right? It will motivate somebody. Can I rewind? Nikikuona kwa mbali, moyo wangu waja juu. Kwa macho yangu mawili, I look at you. Usimwambie wa pili that I love you. Now those statements are very palatable. At a certain time, they make a lot of impact on somebody at a certain time. Now another time comes and you say, one time I wrote your name, my sweetheart, on the beach. The cruel waves came and washed it. I never gave up. I decided to write it on the ground. The rain fell and cleared it. Never gave up. I wrote it on the grasses. The giraffe came and ate it. But no matter the circumstances, no matter the condition, today I have decided I will write it in my heart. No one is going to grab it. We are there together forever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Now you've gone to another stage. My strength of growth and my ability of influence and the power of seeing things positive and the levels that I have reached and the competencies I've acquired, they can all be dedicated to you, my dear, darling wife. Now that's another stage. Another stage. It will be an exciting moment. It will be an exciting moment when time will come, we will remind each other how we saw one another for the first time, and how I smiled and you smiled to me, back to me, and how I said salam and you answered with a polite voice, salam, back to me. How I asked your contact and you gave them to me. How we met for the first time to discuss how we can become one for one and all for one. I wish one day, whether it will be you or me, we'll be seeing each other for the last time, not because we are divorcing, but because we are transcending to another world. I love you, my wife. You are everything I've had in my life. You can't say that in the beginning. Now you're saying it at the end. So the relationship, as it matures in different stages. Stage number one, maturity of depending on you as a husband, and maturity on depending to the wife as a wife. The second one is everybody taking their own path but have a connecting level. And the third one is realizing that none of us can prosper alone. We must work together. Now those are three levels of maturity. Now building that relationship does not require sand and cement. Building that relationship require positivity. Good words followed with the right actions. There are three ways of saying I love you. I can decide to use a verbal approach and say I love you. You might be very happy. Maybe another day I don't feel like I need to tell you verbally. So now I hold you tightly before I leave the house. I never said I love you, but I hugged you very closely. Another day I come home with something I know will make you very happy. All those instances I have said I love you, but in a different way. A friend of mine called Muhammad was madly in love with a girl. They were studying together at the university. I remember I had to ask him one time, you mean this girl has about 5 birthday days? Because every other day you're buying a birthday card. Every other day you're buying a birthday gift. I said, no, I'm trying to pull her. I'm trying to make her, appreciate me. So on and so on. And it was good, always outing, always traveling, always together. At the university, they were lovebirds and so on and so forth. Now they got married. And everybody thought this is Romeo and Juliet. This is Layla wa Majnun. After 3 months of marriage, Aisha, that was the name of the girl, comes to my office. You need to talk to your friend. I say, wow, too early. Just 3 months. I remember I was the mediator, sending so many TikTok clips to my friend so that he can in return send it to the girl to kind of inspire her to become madly in love. I said, no, since we got married, no longer shawarma, no longer kuku, no longer chipsy, no longer outing at seafront, no longer Mamangina Drive, no longer, now I am home throughout. I said, wow, that's scaring. Okay, I will talk to him. Now I call my friend, he comes to my office and said, man, what are you doing to this girl, the girl you loved so much? She was everything in your life, the only oxygen and the only mosquito you had in your net. She was the one, right? I said, yes. Naambia Mujahid, wewe ulisikia lini? Ulisikia nini samaki akivuliwa akitiwa kikapuni kisha akapewa tena chambo? Ulisikia wapi? Rais ashapata kura alafu anarudi anafanya tena campaign. Na kwa hali. Getting the concept? So the process is perception, relationship, and then O is about optimism. It's about optimism. Believing that no matter what happens, my wife will always love me. My husband will always love me. Even if there is a slight shift of attention, maybe because the baby has come, there is a slight shift of attention because he's now working far away from me. There is a slight shift on the attention because now the mother is elderly, she also needs his presence. I believe my husband loves me. My dear colleagues, brothers and sisters, if there is any enemy that destroys relationships, is the enemy called doubt. When you start doubting the sincerity of your partner, the honesty of your partner, the truthfulness of your partner, the commitment of your partner, that's the beginning of every problem. C is about creativity, doing it differently. When you do what everybody else is doing, you become like everybody else. But when you do what is different, things also becomes different. E is about empowerment. It's not about subjectivity, it's about objectivity. That at the end of the day, you make everyone stand on their own. The career progression should not be the reason of you thinking, now things are going to be very, very hard. A lady came to me for help and she told me after a long discussion, the only reason why I don't want my husband to be promoted is I feel she'll marry a second wife. So I want him to remain a teller, not a bank manager. Because when he becomes a bank manager, he'll have money. And many men, when they get money, they add a wife. So I now feel secured and I can see it. He's no longer hugging me when he's leaving the house. He's no longer calling me 4 times a day. He's no longer, so what can I do, my brother? Tell me. I'm worried. And when you are worried about something, you lose it twice. When you're worried about anything, you lose it twice. You lose it at the time when you're worried and you lose it at the time when you're losing it. Can you imagine double disaster? It is worrying about death. You die before you are dead. And then you die again and now you are dead. It's really a problem at the end of the day. So when you are that person who is full of worries, and I want to advise all of us, including myself today, stop being a warrior and become a warrior. Stop being a warrior and become a warrior. Fight for what you want. I admire the courage of this woman. Even when the husband was marrying every day, wanasema hao ni wapicha njia, those are tourists. They have come and they will go. Mimi ndiye mwenyewe hapa. So I don't care. I know one day my husband will realize, after testing all those other ones, that I am the best. Oh yes. He went hector, east, west, but finally realized, wow, hii ndio kigogo sasa. And now he's settled. And the wife is enjoying the marriage now. She was telling me the other day, you know what? We had only 3 children with my husband, and all of them have finished university. One is a medical doctor, another one is a high school teacher, another one has gone to the US, and now you know what? Twacheza kibe na mume wangu ndani ya nyumba. You get my point? Because there are no babies anymore. Those worries ahead have now gone. I'm enjoying that relationship. You know what, my brothers and sisters? Everything we do is self-proclaimed. We create ourselves and then we tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, put a rubber stamp. This is the person I want to be in my life. This is the relationship I want to have in my life. This is the prosperity. But we are all self-made. We all make ourselves. But the things that we do with conviction that they will make ourselves greater than who we are. Process in terms of respecting the system. You know, in life, you do what you ought to do because that is how it's supposed to be done. You can't go against nature. You can't. You can't go against nature. You can't. And if you want to go against nature, there will always be challenges and difficulties along the way. My friend had started losing hair, like me. And he was so worried that if he becomes bald, the wife will leave him. Because he married her when he had very thick bush called hair on his head. So he was trying every kind of oil. It was every kind of medication. It was not working. They were falling. And one day when they were walking along the beach in Malindi, the wife told the husband, I don't know if he knew what the husband was going through, and told him, my husband, you look more sexy when you were bald. You look hotter than you looked before. You mean it? I said, yes, you look hotter. Really? And the way I have suffered for the last 5 years, struggling to keep the hair. This is good news. So sometimes you got to find out. There are things that are called killer assumptions. They kill you because you're assuming. You're assuming. They're killing you. You should stop assuming. You should look for facts so that you can make a decision based on facts. Not because you have kind of an assumption that this is how my husband feels, this is how my wife feels, and at the end of the day you go through a lot of hassle trying to please the wife or the husband, and it doesn't work. A wife drove a car that was newly bought by the husband. And unfortunately, the first day she drove the car, she hit another car. She caused an accident. And now she was worried to death that if this man comes back and realizes I have knocked his new car, hell will break loose. So as he was struggling to see where the insurance is, to call the insurance people before the husband comes back, he sees an envelope with his name on top. Now he opens the envelope, and the envelope had a note inside, and the note was reading like this: my sweetheart, in case of anything happen to my new car, don't worry, it is the you that I love, not the car. Whew. Was a relief, right? Ooh, a big relief. Now, facts are very important when it comes to relationship. It's about maintaining that standard. Maintaining that standard. Always making sure this is how I started and this is how I will end, majority of us, after getting used to one another, we relax. The husband is no longer going to the gym. He used to go to the gym, and the body of the husband was exciting, motivating, attractive to the wife. But now, because of too much work and being busy, no more gym. The wife has taken it for granted. This one has been my husband for the last 10 years. I don't have to go to the salon anymore. Now, when you look at each other, there's a lot of resentment. And unfortunately, you are not ready to tell each other, please go back to the gym. I like when you look a bit muscular. I like it. Please go to the salon. I like it. When you have this type of hairstyle, I like it. Go. Now, marriage is a process of establishing meaningful engagement. Meaningful, the word M. Meaningful engagement. And meaningful engagement means at every point it will have a different meaning. So M in the word marriage, it is a process of establishing a meaningful engagement. That is to say, at every time, you don't change name, no, you strengthen your relationship. Changing name is killing us. I call you darling, sweetheart, honey, the only mosquito in my net, my oxygen, my everything. Before you give birth, after giving birth, I call you Mama Ke Ali, Mama Ke Halima, Mama Ke Omari. And then after that, I have another name for you. I'm not talking about that gradual growth. I am talking of you understanding, wow, we've lived together for 2 years. Let me strengthen this relationship by doing something special to my wife or to my husband. Wow, it is a decade since we've been together. Let me do something different to my husband. That's what I'm talking about. Meaningful engagement. That you can see you're not wasting the time of each other. There's a gradual improvement of life as you climb the ladder of your marriage. It is the process of valuing one another's association. Association. That means getting much closer to each other. I had an uncle of mine who died at the age of 96. But the last 5 years of his life was terrible because he had intestinal cancer. And when he was forced to use pipes in everything for eating, for going for short course and long course like that. And therefore the wife thought, now this man is too old and he's sick. There's no need for me to share a room with him. So I am now going to be sleeping with my grandchildren, and I will leave him on his own with his sons, his brothers, who will take good care of him. Because him at night, even if something happens, I will not be able to hold him. He's heavier. We are two. The wife was 90, he was 96. So now one day this man woke up crying the whole day, the whole night, 1 day, 2 days. And everybody was asking him, what is wrong with Omari? Why are you crying? Is it the pain is intense now? What's the problem? He said, no. Amina, what's wrong with Amina? She has deserted me. And it's hurting me. We've lived together for over 50 years. Now at the last moment, this wife of mine is deserting me. Sam's Omari, you are sick, you are old. What are you going to do with Amina? Halati Amina, what are you going to do with her? We are all here for you. We are your son, your grandchildren. We are here. We'll give. No. You don't understand. Don't understand. Go talk to her. Go talk to her. Now we had to talk to Amina. Amina, utaingia motoni wewe. Shauri yako. Mlango wa pepo uko katika mikono ya mumeo. Ukikosa radhi zake, miaka yote umesacrifice. Sasa mwisho unataka kuwa msinikere. Amepiswa huyo mzee. He's insane now. He's too old. Msisikize maneno yake. That man means what he says and he says what he means. Usiku wa leo, you'll have to go back to your bedroom. The mama, after listening to all of us, said, inshallah, tena nitamnunulia na kikuba. Na kikuba? Cha asimini kile. No, she did it and she went that night. No, before she went, I asked Mzee Omari, even if Auntie Amina comes back, Halati Amina comes to your room, what will you do? And then he smiled. And he said, angalau nitaeka mkono. Angalau nitamwekea mkono. Isn't that enough? Isn't that not enough? Nitamwekea tu mkono. And Auntie Amina went back that night. Mzee Omari mwekea mkono, and in the morning Mzee Omari alikufa. And the lady cried and cried, remembering if she had not done that, she would have regretted all her life if she had not listened. So marriage is that value that you put in that association. You look at me, I look at you, and feel happy. You are the apple of my eye. Whether we do something, we don't do nothing, just that gaze is enough. No matter how old you are, and no matter how young you are. A smile, and you smile back, that is contagious. It opens all the veins, and it produces endomorphin hormones. And ultimately, the excitement rules the relationship. If it is the touch, the sensory movement of the blood through your veins, no matter how old you are, it rejuvenates you. You feel younger because that connection is very, very strong. Marriage is about currency of relationship. Currency of relationship. Therefore, you are the one who determines how expensive that relationship means in your life. Is it a 50 shilling note? Is it 100 shilling note? Is it 1,000 note? What is the value of the currency of that relationship? Another lady told me, wallahi, Ustadh Muhammad amekuwa mtu mzito siku hizi. Mume wangu amekuwa mzito, kila kiwa mtu mzima, amekuwa taklifu sana. Lakini wallahi, kila nikikaa nikikumbuka kule tunapotoka, how we met, how we struggled, how we built our lives, how we built the life of our children. Wallahi, that is enough consolation. I don't ask anything more from him. I ignore everything he does. The moment I remember how valuable the journey has been in our lives, no matter how difficult he is today, I am more than prepared to continue being with him, not because of the present, but because of the past. When I remember, though they say the past is not a place of residence, it's a place of reference, but the reference might be a very good reference. And that reference might give you the power to struggle and create a better future instead of giving up. Marriage, my dear colleagues, is a foundation of appreciation. A foundation of appreciation. A foundation of appreciation. Appreciating people for what they are. Not who they are, but for what they are. Appreciating a person, no matter how old they are, no matter how rich they are, no matter how poor they are, you appreciate them. Marriage is a source of life inspiration. Life inspiration. No matter how tired you are, where you come from, the moment you arrive at home, your marriage should give you the energy to continue struggling. Marriage is a force for adaptation. Adaptation in the sense that you can change the way things are and fit in any given situation. Marriage is an epoch of growth as you grow together and see the children and the grandchildren and finally say goodbye to each other when you're still together. Hakuna msiba unaochukua muda mrefu kuliko msiba wa ndoa, si ndio? Misiba mingine yote ni siku 3 according to Islam. Lakini msiba wa ndoa ni miezi mingapi? Miezi 4 na siku 10 mara, something like that. That when you lose your husband, that tells you how much you will have to detox your psychological you for you to be able to move on with your life, because that value is key. G, marriage is an epoch of growth, and then E is appeal to life excitement. It is appeal to life excitement. I was asking a paternal distance grandmother, she's now about 85, and she doesn't have high blood pressure, and she doesn't have sukari, all these emotional ailments. She's free of them. And I was asking her, what is the secret? Can you educate me? And she was telling me, always my husband had a habit of making me smile. No matter how hard it was, whether there was food, no food, there was always a struggle to make me smile, to make me happy, whether we have or we don't have. And that is marriage, according to the definition. Then what is love in the interest of time? Love, L, it is a process of learning about each other from the time you meet until the time you depart, not because of divorce, but because of death that you cannot avoid. So when you say, I love somebody, it means you are ready to learn that person and adapt the changes that they are developing as they are growing older. Love is being objective and not subjective. I am from Lamu, mimi ni Mbajuni. Kuna mzee mmoja alikuwa kina shairi moja akilisema, don't worry about the language. If you don't understand, you can ask me to translate. Chushike jembe chulime. Chushike jembe chulime. Have you gotten that? Chushike jembe chulime chumuombe raba. Did you get that? Chushike jembe chulime chumuombe raba. Chumuombe atimize matilaba. Did you get that? Did you get that? Is it sinking? Chushike jembe chulime chumuombe raba. Chumuombe atimize matilaba. Angani umakizimbe ni ushingo wa mahaba. Did you get the last part? You didn't get. Even though I am beaten by a scorpion, that is the test of love. Angani umakizimbe. Even if I'm beaten by a scorpion, I don't feel the pain, I feel the power of love. Even when things are hard between the two of us, I still see the power of love. So when you say, I love you, what does it mean? When you say, I love you, how many of you have said that recently? I love you. Oh, very good. Ladies, have you said, I love you? Or for the last 24 hours, have you said, I love you? Have you? How many of you have sent a card to your husband or to a wife telling them that they mean a lot to you in the past 1 month? How many of you have sent a card, a greeting card, saying you are everything in my life? How many? Though you are now 60, I still see you as that guy of 25 years old. Though you're 60. How many of you have sent that card? You look as beautiful as the time I met you. How many of you have sent that message? You haven't. So you see, even us, ourselves, we are like saying, no, I love you is not an important ingredient in our relationship. Sindio? Kwa sababu it has taken us maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years. There's a Kalenjin man who was summoned by the Kalenjin elders because the wife went to report him that since they were at the altar, he has never told her, I love you again. So the elders called this guy and said, and he's a university professor, my friend, wewe umesoma kitabu yote umekula, mbona uambii bibi yako napenda? Ile akamwambia, siku ile nilipokuwa naoa yeye naeka pete, nilisema nini? Ile watu akasema, ulisema you love me. Kama imebadilika nitakwambia, lakini tisikie tese, haijabadilika bado. Sasa kwa nini unataka niseme tena na haijabadilika? Ikibadilika nitakwambia tena, lakini for now just take it. It still stands that I love you. The sky is blue and the ink is blue. Our love is true between me and you. Don't worry about that. We shall always be together. So what does it mean? According to me, I want you to write that statement, I love you. No. Write, what is I love you? What is I love you? When you say I love you, what are you really saying? I means I am very much interested in you. When someone tells you, I love you, I means I am very much interested in you, in our relationship, in our marriage. L, I am willing to overcome every limitation that will meet our ways. I love you. I am interested. L, I am willing to overcome every limitation with you. B, I love you, or I will always be open with you. I will always be open with you. Don't worry. V, I will always value you. E, I always get excited when I am with you. Can you please repeat what I said? What does I stand for? I? Please. Can everybody say that? What does I stand for? It's hard to say it. Can you say it again? Something is heavy in your heart. Can you say it again? Still heavy. Can you say it again? Kindly practice that today so that when you go home, you tell your wife that statement. What did I say L is stand for? Overcoming every limitation. Because sometimes we are not tested for us to discover how weak we are. We are tested to give us the confidence that we are more stronger than we think we are. I'm taking it again. Sometimes we are not tested to expose our weakness. Sometimes we are tested to show our strength. And sometimes all these challenges and limitations are to make us feel how strong we are. V, what did I say? And what are the values of marriage? Number one, value of marriage. What are the values of marriage? Honesty. One, there are 12 of them. Value of marriage are 12 of them. One is honesty. Second, trust. 2, 3, sincerity, ikhlas. 4, respect. 5, 12 of them. 5 values of marriage, 12 of them. Communication. 6, empathy, not sympathy. Notice the difference. Empathy, not sympathy. 7, care. 8, simplicity. 9, peace. 10, 12 of them. Love, great. That should have been number 1. Love. 11, intimacy, responsibility, understanding what your role is. And the last one, compassion that is mentioned. The last one, tolerance. Ability to take the person the way they are. Those are 12 values of marriage. So I'm going faster because my time is going out of hand. So V, providing verification, then E, engagement, and then Y, always yearning for more, wanting more, and then O is optimism, believing in each other, and U, understanding, and U, understanding. So if that is what the meaning of marriage is, if that is what I love you is, do you think it is enough to sustain any relationship? Or it is not enough? Is it enough? Is it enough? It is not enough. In Islam, in Islamic Sharia, when you are defining marriage, they use the word contract. They use contract. When you're defining marriage from a sociological point of view, you put in an agreement. When you define marriage from a psychological point of view, you put total well-being. When you define marriage from an economic point of view, you put sustainability of affairs, economic affairs of that partnership. So if you look at it from economic, social, religious, moral, and psychological, that is when you get to realize that the word I love, the statement I love you, is not enough when it comes to a relationship or it comes to a marriage, particularly if that I love you is not properly defined. If that I love you is not properly defined. Let me give an example. A couple came to me and the husband was insisting because the wife wanted to be divorced, and the husband was saying, I can't divorce her. I love you so much. I love her. She is my life. I can't imagine my life without her. And then yule mwanamke akasema, hiyo love yako ndio ni chakula. Hiyo love yako ndio fees za watoto. Hiyo love yako ndio rent. Hiyo love yako ndio pesa ya kwenda hospitali. Hiyo love yako ndio enalini vision. What's wrong with you? Do you think everything is love? Hiyo ni ya watoto wa high school. Mimi si msichana wa high school tena. Do you agree with her? How many of you agree with her? How many? Raise up your hand. If you agree with her. You agree with her? Yes. So in the interest of time, what are the ingredients of a happy married life? So that we cut it short. What are the ingredients? What are the ingredients? What are the ingredients? Yes, my sister. Can you give them the microphone? Huh? Yeah. There has to be a kind of a financial stability somewhere. And financial stability does not mean you become a millionaire, okay? It simply means you can meet your basic primary financial obligations. Primary, let me tell you, a brother comes to see me, Mujahid, help me. I am at the verge of collapsing. What's the problem? My problem is, for the last 3 months, I've never extended my hand to my wife, and we share the same bed. Say, why? What's wrong with you? 3 months? You say, every time I try to do it, everything goes off because I remember there is rent to be paid. Every time I tried, I remember tomorrow my child will be sent away from school because I've never paid school fees for 2 times. Every time I attempt to get closer to my wife, I remember the stock in the kitchen is finished. I'm dying, Mujahid. And it's like my wife doesn't want to understand. Can't. I'm overwhelmed psychologically to an extent that my my primary responsibility as a husband is getting messed up. So is love enough for a good married life? Is it enough? It's not. Because this guy has a life experience. So what is enough? What is enough? What is enough? Our sister has said there has to be some form acceptable financial stability somewhere. That at least there should be provision for the day in the house, and bills have been paid and fees have been paid for that relationship to prosper. I have a friend of mine, we went to school together, and a team of them always meet at Blue Room in Mombasa for a cup of tea, and that cup of tea will extend from Ba'd al-Asri until Isha. So one day I asked them, my friend, what's wrong with you? Are you not married? Why don't you go home? Say, hey, I better be here. I want to go home when I find myself, my wife is already sleepy. Because there will be so many questions, so many demands, and things are not easy for me at the moment. The business is not doing well. So I'd rather stay out longer than being at home. Because if I stay at home, definitely I will end this marriage. There will be a lot of nagging. So to keep that relationship safe, I better spend a lot of time outside. I go home only when it is necessary. Dr. Rizik will tell you that is, how do you say it, Dr. Flight or unakimbia ama flight, yeah, like that at the end of the day. So which approach are you using as a person? Okay, that's a good one. Next one. You know, I went to school in Nigeria, and Nigerians, the houses and the Fulanis, have a culture of giving their daughters, particularly their first daughter, in marriage to Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And because the Prophet is no longer alive, they will look for any young man who is closer in quality as the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So the father will look around, stay in the mosque, observe how many young people come to pray here, and when he identifies one, he does the research, the background search, and on a Friday, it is the Amir of the state that will get that young man married to the daughter of that man without even that young man knowing. So on Friday, after the prayers, the Amir, the Emir, they call them Emir, the Amir, the Sultan will stand and say, today we are going to give Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam 3 wives. And to represent Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the boys will be mentioned. Now, after being given the wife, the father of the wife will provide for their needs for the whole year. The father will provide the flat where they will live, the feeding, and then gradually the father will look for a job for the bridegroom. But after 1 year, the contract ends between that relationship and the father. Now the husband has to provide. And many of them, those marriages don't last, because by the time the father leaves the husband has nothing to offer. Therefore, the girl goes back to the father. Are you getting my point? So at the end of the day, what she is saying is very, very important. That ability, you don't just give people wives and then you don't empower them to sustain and continue with that love. Wazungu wanasema romance without finance never lasts. And marriage is supposed to be romantic, right? Mahaba yako hazina nipe mimi ni yawe. Mapenzi yangu zunduna nitakupa uyashiki. Katu siyagawi tena, kwako imefika mwisho wake. Penzi tuliengeenge lidumu lisivunjike, na mengine tuyatende ya watu tusiyashike. Tujilinde na mazenge, ili kila siku jogoo liwe wike. But it cannot continue like that. I can't say I love you and then that's the end of it all. My dear brothers and sisters, my time is up. When I say I love you, that is what I mean. Therefore, there are 10 C's we must practice. I think I have about 10 minutes to go, is it? Almost, mashallah. Now, first, let me give you a trigonometry of marriage, or a triangle of marriage, for it to be a long-lasting marriage. The first angle, the top angle of the triangle, there has to be marital friendship. Katika ndoa lazima kuwe na urafiki. Bila urafiki, ndoa inakuwa shida kusimama. Urafiki wa aliyoolewa na aliyooa. Pembe ya pili ni marital love affair. Marital love affair. Pembe ya tatu ni repair of injuries every time they occur. Repair of injury pain every time they occur, because there will be injuries along the way. It is not a smooth road. It is not a plateau. There are mountains and there are valleys. And sometimes you are the mountain and you are the valley, and you have to take care of that mountain and take care of that valley. Therefore, the 10 C's that supplements the triangle. C number 1, clarity. What do you want in that marriage? What are you? Why did you get into that marriage? What is your goal? Shabaha yako ilikuwa ni nini? Hadafu yako ilikuwa ni nini? Clarity, knowing exactly what you went for that marriage. Is it the wealth of the wife? Is it the beauty? Is it nasaba? Is it the education? Is it the character? Now the why, understanding the why makes the how and the what easy. There are people who have compromised so many things because their interest in that marriage was not love, their interest in that marriage was money. Therefore, you can do anything as long as I get my money, I am okay. C number 2, communication. C number 2, communication. C number 3, commitment. C number 3, commitment. C number 4, creativity. C number 5, consultation. C number 6, cooperation. C number 7, compatibility. C number 8, consistency. C number 9, connection. And C number 10, charm. Do you have the charm? Charm. Do you have the charm? Alhamdulillah, namshukuru Mwenyezi kwani leo nafurahi mekutana na wapenzi kwa nia tujieleze, tukitafuta ujuzi ndani ya mioyo yetu, tutabakia azizi, ndoa mte wa faida, watakamema malezi. Watakamema malezi yalofuatwa na ujuzi. Shida zikitukabili, liwe dafu liwe nazi, takumbuka maandishi aliyoyaandika Mwenyezi kwa mila na desturi mtume wetu sallallahu alaihi wasallam mjuzi. Always you were you and I was I. We were two before our time. I was you before I knew, and you have been me as well too. I love you not only for what you are, but for what I am when I am with you. I love you not only for what you have made of yourself, but for what you are making me of myself. I love you for the part of me that you bring out. Kweli ndoa ni mapenzi yaliyokithiri nyoyoni, na nuru iliyo wazi inayong'ara machoni, na nguvu zisizo kifani zilizojaa mwilini, utulivu na makini, makuzi ya duniani na kesho kwake manani mwingi, sote tuingie peponi. Barakallahu laka wa baraka alaykum wa jamaa bainakum fil khair. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم